Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is the gentleman from 27th yield for a question?
Gentleman Hill. Gentleman Hill.
Yes.
I've been doing some internet searching while this debate's been going on, and not that I believe everything on the internet, but I've come to the conclusion from things that I have read that states do not necessarily have to go by the FDA's recommendation for drug classes.
Is there a question? I'm sorry, the question
Is that correct, that West Virginia can schedule, we have the right or authority to classify or schedule drugs, and it doesn't have to match what the FDA suggests? Am I right or wrong?
Here's my understanding. The Board of Pharmacy follows the DEA, which in turn follows the FDA. So our Board of Pharmacy would follow what the federal government does. If that answers your question.
I understand that we usually follow that, but is it within the state's authority, our right to reschedule differently? Okay.
I mean, I guess we could do whatever the heck we want. We could declare independence if we wanted to, but we normally follow the federal government's lead on drug issues, and the FDA takes the lead on that. And we could just ignore it. The FDA has much more capability to research. As I indicated earlier, they did a 3-year study on this issue. I don't know of any study that's been done here in the state that's that extensive or that involved that level of inquiry. But my understanding is we've always followed the FDA lead on these substances.
I was just trying to determine if we can do that, and my colleague just handed me the agenda, the House calendar for today, and it looks like on second reading we have, yes, our bill classifying additional drugs to Schedule 1, 2, and 4 and things. Okay, I'm not sure I got the answer I was looking for on that, but
we do this every year. When the FDA updates their schedule, we update ours. It's typical. This is nothing unusual. What's unusual is there's an effort now to vary from what the FDA tells us is the proper and the most scientifically studied way of classifying our substances.
I agree with you. They have more resources to come to those conclusions, but I was just looking if we can even do it legally. So, but it appears that we can. You had mentioned that no state had moved marijuana to Class 4.
We have not been able to locate a state that did that.
Have any moved it to Class 2 or 3 that you're aware of?
Council tells me that there may be 1 or 2 that have gone to Class 2.
To Class 2.
Yes.
If we reschedule this to Class 4 or 2 or 3 or whatever class we move it to, of course this amendment's to take it to 4, can a physician, I guess, write a prescription for it? But since I'm trying to work through this, if it's still illegal, we haven't legalized medical marijuana, can you go to a drugstore and get it if we were to move it to Schedule 4?
I think if you have a prescription, whether you got it in Ohio or wherever you got it, if it's a valid prescription, you can go into a pharmacy and purchase it, but I'm not sure if pharmacies actually stock marijuana. I'm sure they don't at this point. If that was your question.
Well,
I mean, you go down to Rite Aid, I don't think.
so
no
you
matter
could
what
take this
I offer-
prescription out of state and have it filled, but would it be legal for a pharmacy in West Virginia to stock this and dispense it if we have not legalized medical marijuana?
Yeah, I think and like I said earlier, I think we're sowing the seeds for a lot of confusion here. I don't think they could sell it under current law. I think probably what you could do if you had a prescription is possess it, but where you would get it, I think it would be difficult for a pharmacy, probably illegal, to actually sell it, especially with the federal regulations being such as they are.
I'm really just trying to sort through how this would work if we were to change it. And so, to recap, it sounds like we can reschedule it. Some states have, but not to 4. But if we do reschedule it, that doesn't mean it's going to be available if a physician would write a prescription for it. Somebody would have to go out of state, possibly. Is that
All
correct?
I can say, and as I said before, there's a lot of confusion that's going to follow this if we adopt it. I can't speculate as to all of the outcomes, but all I can say is if you have a doctor's prescription, if this amendment passes, you'd be able to possess it. Now, where you could get it is a whole different issue.
Okay. I think that's about as clear as
I can't give you much clarity on this because, as I said before, this just opens Pandora's box as to confusion as to how it's going to play out.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate that.